Hi everyone, how are you today? Let me see if I can just adjust that. So, how's everyone doing? Happy Tuesday. So, I'm just going to check and make sure that this is working. I hope you guys are doing great. So, today I wanted to jump in and talk to you guys about online conferences, summits, courses, how to get the most out of the time that you have. You know, as busy working moms, we only have so much time in the day. So before I get started, the first thing I want to ask you guys is how many of you are taking courses or online training, either free or paid? Are you taking a multi-day summit or conference? Are you taking a one-off course? What are you taking this year? I know right now, especially near the beginning of the year, many of us are involved, either part of a speaker. I know myself, I'm a speaker for the Canadian conference coming up, and I also took the stress mastery course that is also coming up this week. And so the reason I wanted to do this video today is because many of us, you know, we take these courses and it can be overwhelming, right? So especially if it's a multi-day event, you finish the multi-day event and you come out feeling one of two things. You're like, yeah, I can do all the things. Or you come out and you're like, I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. And so I wanted to jump in and talk about this. So usually I have my Facebook Lives here on Thursday. And I realized today is Tuesday and this is kind of an unexpected bonus video. But the two online conferences, so the conference, Canadian conference, and the Stress Mastery are both free and they're coming up this week. And so I really wanted to make sure that I shared these tips with you guys before the events. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about today is how to make the most out of these sessions. So these tips I'm going to share with you today are for before, during, and after. Okay? So if you don't know me, my name is Jen McKinnon, and I'm your host here in the Working Homeschool Mom Club. And I usually don't show up in a huddle, but we are having a blizzard here today. And so I am staying warm and cozy while the snow comes down, and I'm really hoping that the power holds while I do this video. So if I cut off without any warning, you'll know what happened. We lost our power. So I'm in Nova Scotia, Canada, and we've had a really mild winter. So I expect this storm to kind of wake us up. All right, so as someone who does online courses, so part of our Coffee Club community, which is our paid community, every single month our members get a course or a workshop, some sort of video content. And you know, as someone who creates, is on the creator side, the worst thing that, you know, the very worst thing that can happen, that people watch our content and they don't take action. You know, that's what we want. When we create these courses from the creator side, we do it because we want to help you solve a problem, right? So it's usually like, or teach you something new. So I've seen courses out there, or I'll just mention the ones in our Coffee Club. So we have one on planning, right? So the point of planning would be to help you figure out where to put your work, where to put your homeschool, where to put your life. We have a guest workshop on Trello, you know, how to get started, how to use it for homeschooling. We have a workshop on goal setting goals that make sense, self-care, homeschool planning, all of these things. So all of these courses are designed to help you take action or teach you something new. However, in order for them to actually help you personally, you have to take action. And that can be hard, especially if you're going through a multi-day event like a summit or a conference, because at the end, like I said, you either come out totally overwhelmed, right? There's like 15 things that you can't wait to do, but you don't really know how to take action. Or you want to do all the things and you still don't know where to start, right? So the tips I'm going to share with you today are going to be perfect for you know, any free or paid course, workshop, online conference, summit, that type of thing. Okay, so even if you purchased an ebook and you're going through, these tips will come in handy. So the first thing that I want to talk about is before. So what should you do before you even get started? So the first thing you should do is, if it's a free event online, is to sign up. Okay, so when you see it, make sure you sign up to the thing while you're thinking about it. Because if you're anything like me, you're like, oh yeah, I really want to attend this great thing. And then you get busy and you totally forget. And then the time goes by, especially a lot of the conferences and events will have like a free period. So you can sign up and you can get this thing for free for so long and you totally miss it and you're bummed out. So the first thing you want to do is sign up. Then check your email for the confirmation email, which is the second thing that's kind of part of the first. Okay, so make sure you check your junk email inbox and make sure you get the confirmation. After that, the second thing you want to do is to choose a place to take your notes. Okay, I like to physically write my notes because for me it helps embed it in my brain. So one notebook, one. Or you can do it online, you know, think like Trello, Google Docs. Some people like the Notes app. The point is to make sure that all your notes are in one place. Okay, so it doesn't really matter what you use. I don't really care as long as you know where to go. Okay, so using a notebook, the notebook I'm currently using is this one. Okay, so it's coil bound, has my notes. When I fill this notebook up, I'll put it on my shelf and move on to the next one. So when you're writing your notes, whether it's on paper or online, what you want to do is make sure at the top of your page, you write the title of the workshop, training, whatever, and the speaker. So if it's a multi-day thing, like the Canadian conference, make sure that you have the speaker and maybe the date. Okay, so if it's like a Monday to Friday thing, you want to make sure that way it's organized so you can find the things that you're looking for. Okay, now the reason you don't want it everywhere is because what happens is you maybe like for Monday's notes, you put it in a Trello doc and then Trello board. Can you tell I don't use Trello? Tuesday, you put it in a Google Docs. Wednesday, you put it in a notebook. Well, by the end of the sessions, you're not going to be able to find out anything, right? Because it's all over the place. So the only wrong thing is to have it all spread out. Make sure that you have it in one spot where you can find it and that your notes are reasonably organized. And that's why we're going to come back to why I want you to put the title and if it's a speaker, you know, multiple speakers. Okay? So another thing that you want to do before, after you've got your notebook, is you have kids, right? Obviously, you're a homeschool mom. And so you want to make sure that you either have childcare, which would be outside of COVID. So before we had COVID, some parents, some moms would, you know, set up childcare if it was a one-day conference. Especially if they're going to the physical location, they would obviously need childcare. If you're at home, what I recommend is setting up food and snack baskets or something that your kids can reach that is safe for them to handle on their own. So snacks and drinks. Otherwise, you're going to be interrupted, especially if it's a live event, every 5 to 10 minutes because they're going to be hungry and thirsty. The second thing for your kids that you want to do is set up quiet activities because you don't want them, unless you have a headset, that's noise canceling. You don't want your kids playing the drums behind you when you're trying to learn, okay? So art baskets, those quiet boxes, if you need ideas, let me know. I have a whole resource post on a list of ideas that you can use, you know, to build your quiet box. Take it out for this special event, and while you're learning, have them play. And of course, you can always do this after your kids go to bed or before they wake up in the morning. So that is some of the things that you're going to want to do before you sit down to learn at the summit or the conference, okay? So what are you going to do during the event? So during the event, remember to title your notes, okay? So you're going to put your title, you're going to take your notes, and then as you're going through, as you're watching the conference or you're reading the ebook or you're taking the course, you're going to want to apply what you're learning. So take notes with your situation in mind, okay? So for example, I'm thinking of the last ebook thing that I did. And so you want to go through and you want to think, how is this going to impact my life? Okay, so we're all working homeschooling moms. So the types of topics that we might be taking could vary. You know, you could be taking a course on homeschooling, how to homeschool, how to get started. Maybe you're taking a course on homeschool planning. Maybe you're taking a course on homeschool organization. Maybe you've signed up for my free course on, you know, how to create a simple schedule. Or you could be taking something for personal development, how to do self-care. Maybe you want to learn how to run. Maybe you want to learn how to meal plan or declutter the house. There's so many different topics that you could be taking. So as you're going through those courses, make sure you're asking yourself this question. How is this going to impact my life? How is this going to bring peace to my life? How is it going to improve? That type of thing. You want to apply it to your life. So you're taking your notes. All right. So remember, you want to avoid shiny object syndrome. So you don't want to be going through and thinking, well, that's really cool. So-and-so does it this way. I should definitely try that. If it's not even relevant to your life. So for example, some of you work at home and some of you work outside the home. Some of you are like me, we do both. Okay, but for those of you that work at home, you might be watching a conference or a work course or a workshop on, what to wear to the office. If you're working at home and you're not on video and you can wear your pajamas, a course on what to wear to the office isn't really relevant to you. Or you could be a mom who's homeschooling older kids, right? And you might see a conference, like in the Canadian conference, there might be a workshop on how to homeschool toddlers or, little kids. Well, that might not be relevant to you. So these are things that you want to keep in mind when you're taking notes. Make sure you take notes with view to your own situation and how these things can help you. I'm not saying you're not going to learn something in those workshops that you could apply to your life, but it's okay to watch a conference or a workshop or a session and be like, totally not relevant to me. That's okay. All right, so when you're done a course, so we're going to talk about just for a minute like a conference. And there's multiple workshops or sessions. So if it's recorded, actually, even if it's live, they usually have like a transition period from one speaker to the next, right? About 15, 20 minutes. What you want to do is pause the session. Okay, so you're done watching, you've taken all your notes, you're going to pause. And I want you to quickly review what you just learned about. And you want to ask yourself this question: does this solve a problem that I personally have right now? Because some sessions, like I mentioned, will have nothing to do with you, and it's okay. So you get down the session, you're like, doesn't impact me at all. Okay? So write something on the top, say, not interested. Actually, I just rip out my notes and throw them away. If it's something I'm totally not interested in, isn't like, okay, I have 2 teenagers. So if it's how to homeschool a 6-year-old, it's not going to impact my personal life in any way. Okay? So if it does impact you, you're going to rate the talk. Okay, so this is just after you finish watching it, before you move on to the next one. And the reason we're doing it now is because you have all the thoughts in your head, right? You just watched the training. You're either super excited, yeah, I can't wait to get started, or you're like, not really sure. So rate how you're feeling. Are you 1, something that you're kind of interested in? It could impact your life in a positive way, but you don't want to take action on it right now. 2, you like it. It's pretty cool. It probably could impact your life in a good way. But if you didn't do it within the next 2 weeks, you're okay. And 3, cannot wait to get started. You're thinking about it. You already see, okay, this is what I need in my life. This is going to impact my life in a really good way. If it's a business conference, I know a lot of you guys are running your own businesses at home, or you're helping your boss run a business and you're like, okay, I can see the way this would move the needle in my business. This is going to help me reach this type of goal. This is how I'm going to do it. And you're already excited. Write that down. But then this is the key. Write down why you need to take this action, implement this thing that you just learned right now. So let's go back to the how to create a simple schedule. It's the free thing just because I created it and I kind of know it inside out. So you're going through the days because it's broken out into days. And you get to this part and you're like, okay, I need to figure out my big blocks right now because, and that's your key word. Okay, so make sure you say because. And here's the reason. You might get super excited. So I have friends who love Trello, love it. There are people in this group swear by Trello. It's going to change their life. And as I'm watching the workshop, either in the coffee club or I'm watching you guys talk about it, you're all excited. And I'm like, okay, I could totally use Trello. And then I write down my why. I would like to use Trello because it's cool, because it's fancy, because it's cute. Well, those are really like kind of superficial reasons, right? They're not going to impact my life. It's not going to move the needle forward in my personal development. It's not going to move the needle forward in my homeschool. For me personally, it's not a 3. I'm not excited. So I might move it to like a 1. Someday I'll learn about it. Someday I'll invest the time or the money or the whatever into it. And it's okay. It's okay to finish a workshop or a session or a course and go, yeah, it was okay. Or yeah, I'm really excited. So that's why we want to do it right after. I call it during the sessions, because if it's a multi-day session, then, you know, as you finish one session before you do the next one, you want to make sure you dig into your reason for wanting to implement what you just learned. Because as you're writing it out, you might realize it's not that important. I thought it was super cool. You know, so maybe you're learning about unschooling. You're like, oh my goodness, that would be so cool. My kids could learn all their interests. And then you remember that your kids really like textbooks and workbooks. And they really like having a set schedule. You know, this is math, this is English, this is history. And you're like, oh, maybe it's something to look forward in the future. And that's okay. All right, so now you've rated the courses. So as you're going through the sessions and you're rating it, and now you've finished all the sessions and all the courses, okay? What are you gonna do next? So this is the part that's really important. It's the part where people get caught in that like overwhelm and shiny object syndrome, because it's really easy to get caught up in the excitement. And that's a good thing if it's something that you're going to apply in your life, right? You want that excitement, you want that motivation, you want to keep going with it, but it can be easy to get sucked into having all the things and now you don't know where to start, right? And we, as working moms who are homeschooling our kids and doing mom, we have a lot on our plate. And so since the new thing, the new shiny thing, needs to go into our existing life, we need to figure out our priorities. Okay, so this is really personal, but it's something that you need to do because we just can't stop working, right? Most of us can't take like a week off and say, okay, I'm going to dig into this new thing. I'm going to do only this for a week. I'm not going to homeschool. I'm not going to work, and I'm not going to feed my family. It's just not realistic, right? So we need to fit it into our calendar, our existing plan, or whatever you're using for your plan. So we want to make sure that what we do is helping us personally, right? Okay, so the first thing you want to do when it's all over is gather all your notes. Now, they should be in one place, and I want you to go through. Now, remember, you ranked each session, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 1, or, well, 0 was like totally not interested, so you shouldn't really have those notes. 1, you're interested, you'd like to put that into action, but you don't need to do it right now. 2, you kind of like it. It's something you can see taking action maybe the next month or so, but you're not super excited about it. And 3 is you cannot get it out of your head, right? You're so excited. You're ready to dig in. It's going to change your homeschool life, whatever. It's going to bring you peace. It's going to impact your life today. This is for you. That's where you are. Okay, so you're going to take note of every session that you ranked 3. Now, I want to tell you something before I let you go, before I tell you what to do with those things. Just because you rank something 1 or 2 doesn't mean you're never going to do them, okay? So there are courses that I have taken last fall that I am still working on implementing. They're on my someday list, and someday hasn't come yet for every single one. That doesn't mean I'm never gonna try it. It just means it wasn't something I was super excited about. It wasn't something that was going to impact my life right away. Other things are 3. So don't be afraid to mark those things 1 or 2 and set them aside. Okay, so just put them like on a backlog, put them on another sheet, put them somewhere where you will look at them later. All right, so you've got your list, all the things that you've ranked number 3. Now, this is the important part. You're going to go through that list and see if they're still number 3. Because you might have 10 different things that you feel really strongly about, things that you feel are going to impact your life. Remember, you went through as soon as you were done, so you still had all those feelings from watching the session or taking the course. And you wrote down your why. So as you're going through your why, some of those things might move down. They might be, you're like, you know what? I don't feel like that anymore. I thought this was super important, but now that I'm looking at everything, it can wait. Okay? That's okay. So go ahead. You're going to go through that list and you're going to say, okay, this can wait. This cannot wait. This is important. All right. So after you've done that, you now have a new list of all the things that you've ranked number 3. Really, really important. And so you want to go through and do that. Like I always say, trust your gut. So you're going to go through and like, trust your gut. How is this going to impact my life? What is the biggest change? And you're going to rate all your number 3s and you're going to prioritize them. Which ones do I need to put into place right now that would make the biggest impact on my life right now? So let's say it's a business. Because as I said, I know a lot of you are doing something with your business. So if it's a business course, you might think, how is this going to move my business forward? How is this going to help me do whatever, reach my goals? It might be a homeschool thing, okay? So you might be like, okay, my child is really struggling with math. I've taken this session about how to make math fun or engaging or how to teach multiplication in a way that makes it simple. My child's really upset. We really need to tackle math, so we're going to start with math. So that would be number 1. Then maybe number 2 is like having fun in your homeschool. And then number 3, so you're going to rank all the ones in the order of most importance on how they're going to impact your life. Okay, so you got that done. Next, you're going to ask yourself, is this something I need to learn? Or is this something I can take action on right away? So I'm going to give you an example for me personally. So I spent the month of January working on getting rid of decisions, right? So decisions I had to do every day. And so one thing I did was meal planning, freezer meals. Well, I didn't know how to do the step-by-step thing with freezer meals. So I had to start way back months and months ago with the research. But remember, we already have all this stuff going on, right? We still have work, we still have homeschool, we still have to feed our family and clean the house and do errands and appointments and all that stuff. And none of us, not one of us, can be like, well, I'm going to take 2 weeks off. And I'm going to dive into meal planning for the next 2 weeks. And I'm going to learn, how to do it right from the start and gather the recipes, whatever's involved. So we have to fit it into our existing schedule. So what you want to do is look at your calendar, which I don't have right with me, which is really weird. So you're going to pull out your calendar and you're going to look and you're going to say, okay, you're going to set up like a mini personal project plan. Okay. So maybe you plan and you pick one time block a week of 30 minutes. And during that 30 minutes, you're going to research and you're going to learn more about the thing that you want to do. Okay, so you pick your start date. So starting Thursdays for the next 30 minutes, I am going to learn about freezer meal plans, or I'm going to learn about creating my own unit study for my kids, or I'm going to learn about how to organize my closet. I don't know. Whatever it is you're going to learn. Okay, so for 30 minutes, maybe once, maybe twice a week, that's your learning block. And that way you don't drop all of these things that we don't have the time and energy to drop anyway. And you keep working on it, right? So during those 30 minutes, you're learning. You might try some things and you might implement some things. And maybe you say for a month, I'm going to try this for 1 month. And at the end of the month, here's what you're going to do. You're going to ask yourself, is this helping me? Is it helping me solve that problem? Or have I decided that it's not all what it's cracked up to be? Okay? And so even though you invested 1 month of learning into it, it's okay to get to the end of that month and go, you know what? Totally not for me. Doesn't work for my family, doesn't work for me, doesn't solve the problem, and let it go. Okay? So that's for the thing that you need to learn. Some things you need to learn more about, and so you want to schedule that time. So fit it into your existing calendar. Look at everything that you have planned on your plate. Look and see where you can fit it in. And guard that time. Okay, that's 30-minute learning time. That's when I'm going to learn about this thing and I'm going to apply it. Okay? The other thing, the other side might be a course or a session about something you don't need to learn about. You just need to implement it. So maybe it's decluttering. So one thing I've been doing this month is decluttering my kitchen. It's been years, years and years and years, and I'm having a hard time. I can't find things in my kitchen cupboards, and then when I do find the thing, it's broken or it's not the thing I need. And all these things I have to clean, and I have all these reasons that it was super important to me, but I didn't have the time. The bad way to handle that, or a decluttering project, for example, is to empty all the cupboards, throw them on the floor, and be like, well, now you got to deal with it. I can't stop everything for the week and a half it would take me to do that. That would be very unrealistic, and it wouldn't help me at all. But what I did is I scheduled time, 15 to 30 minutes each day, Monday to Friday. And I started with like 1 or 2 cupboards, and I emptied it out and I cleaned it, and I went through and said, do I use this? I used my questions that I set aside. Am I going to use this? Would I buy it at regular price? Can someone else use it? If the answer was no, does it go in the trash? Can I give it away? That type of thing. And slowly but surely, I'm working through my kitchen. So when you want to implement, you still need to set that time aside in your calendar, but instead of learning, you're going to take action. Because, you want to take action on the things that you're learning. You want to put it in place, whether it's a free resource or a paid resource. There's no point in spending the time and the energy if you're not going to put it into action and try it out, right? Otherwise, it's just kind of like a waste of time. And you guys do not have time to waste time. So when you're done, your number 3 top thing you can't wait to do, what's next? Well, you go back to that list of all your number 3s and look to see what you ranked as the second thing to work on. And then you do the same thing. Is this something I need to learn, or is this something I can implement? And then you find the time in your schedule to do it, and you schedule it in. Make it a date. Make it important so that you can work on it, okay? And so what you're doing is you're going to start rolling into this habit, and it's a great way to chip away. Small steps equal big results, okay? It's the same thing when I talk to you guys about self-care. Start small. Start with 5 minutes. Do the 5 minutes. And once you get 5 minutes in, every day for a couple of days, you're going to start to see the results and reap the rewards. And then you can kind of expand. So, as a quick review, because I know this video was longer than I normally do, and I do apologize that, but I wanted to make sure you guys had all the tools you need for coming up, especially if you signed up for the free conferences and summits that are happening this week, or if you have ones planned, okay? If you plan on taking a course, a summit, a conference, free or paid, you want to make sure you're making the most out of your time. So before you start, sign up, pick a notebook or one place for all your notes. Make sure that your kids, you either have childcare or you have like something for them to do, and that they know what you're doing. Like, for the next 30 minutes, I'm going to be watching this session. Please go do this. Or pick up time when they're asleep or, napping or whatever. Then during the sessions, you're going to take notes with the idea of you and your family, okay? Not someone else. You don't want to get caught up in that comparison trap. Then at the end of the session, before you start the next one, you're going to rate the course. Are you not interested at all? Okay, that's fine. Are you kind of interested, but it can wait? You're really interested, but it can wait. And the third one, you cannot wait to dive in. This is totally going to change your life. And then the key thing is to write why you are interested in doing it, okay? Do it right when you're in the heat of the moment. So all those feelings, all these emotions are right in there. I want to do this because such and such. All right? At the end of all the workshop sessions, whatever, you're going to go back to your list of the things that you could not wait to dig in. And you're going to prioritize that list. Pick one. Start. Do I need to learn about it? Can I put it into action? Then schedule the time in your calendar, because you're adding it to everything else. If you don't do that, you're going to be overwhelmed, you're going to be exhausted, and you're not going to know what to do. So make sure that the thing you pick is something you're all in about. Are you all in about learning how to do this thing? Are you all in about taking action? And then start putting it into place. All right, so I hope those tips help you guys. I would love to know What is in your all-in list? What are you guys learning about? Trying, testing, whether it's business, personal develop, homeschool, household organization, cooking, whatever it is. What are you guys learning about right now? Leave us a comment, and I look forward to connecting with you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. My name is Jen McKinnon, and I will see you guys on Thursday for our regular scheduled Facebook Live. I hope you guys have a great day.